Hey YouTubers, welcome to my channel. So glad to be here with you today. So, did you guys get your boogie on? Did you read Miss Lady C's book? Well, I know that there was a lot of interesting things in this book that we're going to talk about. So we're going to have to break it up into little chunks. The one thing that I did notice was something that I had predicted would happen. And it did happen. And I know you guys all know when she started getting flack about how she was treating her father, who did not see her trying to throw her father under the bus with an allegation? Now, was this the case for all the other family members? Because she certainly did invite them too. They didn't come. So did everybody in Meghan's family do her wrong that where she just could not invite them either? Ask yourself that question. So I'm just thinking this all sounds a little sketchy to me. But we're going to look at it. We're going to walk through all the information that we've seen in the book, and we're just going to piece some things together because generally, you know, you can kind of get an idea of someone's behavior and who they are just by the things that they do. The things that they do. And like I said, if you watched my top 10 countdown, you just have a feeling about certain people. Yeah. So we'll also talk about that more. So what I was thinking we could do is we could break down the chapters of Lady C's book, and I'll do like special videos on her book and just talk about the different chapters and different videos, just kind of like break it down. And then of course still give you guys different videos about other breaking news events that we might see. But just kind of set aside the things in this book as its own separate videos. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to me and was giving me so many good bits and pieces from the book. People were like dropping things and letting me know. And then finally, I got an email that had the actual book attached, and I had the book. So I want to thank that person. What I'll do is I'll just leave the thank yous in my descriptions below. I don't want to call anybody out particular, but I am going to thank the people that reached out to me and kind of helped the sister girl out. You know what I'm saying? So a couple of things that I did read. So starting with chapter 1. We saw that the book opened with the wedding and all the hiccups that we saw with the wedding. And the one thing about the smell, the musty smell, we kind of read that already, but I did not know was about the curtsying to the queen. And you could chalk that up to her just being nervous and forgetting to do that. But do you really forget to curtsy to the queen? Like, that should be standing out to you like bold-faced letters, like curtsy to the queen. Like, that's major. Who forgets to do that? But, you know, I guess you could say she was maybe nervous and forgot. To forget something like that, I think something is seriously wrong if you're going to forget that. Because that seems so like one of those things where you do not forget to do that. If you forget anything, that's the one thing you don't forget to do. I liked how Lady C, when she talked about the different things in the book with the wedding, she really gave Meghan the benefit of the doubt with everything that could have been just overwhelming for her. But she did call out things that we had read in the paper, so we know they were true. About the tiara, you know, thinking that the queen has to give Meghan that tiara that she wanted. And I think that was absolutely right. I never even looked at it like that. But why put the queen in that position? Like, knowing that the tiara goes to the person who got it first. Like, the protocol is Eugene asked for it first, so she should be getting that. No, and it's just such a shame that people are so blinded by following just because. Like, no, don't give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, she's had enough chances already. At some point, somebody needs to call her out at the hierarchy level during all this chaos. And Harry going around what Meghan wants Meghan gets. Oh my goodness, that man is whooped. I mean, I just never seen anything like it before. It just is, it's pitiful. It's sad, and it's just so unbecoming of Prince Harry to just stoop so low to give the woman just everything. Like you don't snap her in line and say, look, woman, no. Start telling her no. That's why we got ourselves in this mess now. Because he doesn't know how to say no. And that's the problem. You don't learn how to say no, you create all kind of craziness. What I'd like to do is continue talking about the first few chapters. Prince Eugene had chosen for her wedding. Harry will have known the score. The date of his cousin's marriage had to be pushed back to allow him to be married first because he took precedence over her. But this is what I wanted to know. If you knew her wedding was already scheduled and now you want to get married, wouldn't you just say, okay, you know what, cousin, I'm gonna let you go ahead and have your wedding and then we're gonna get married? Like, wouldn't you say that? Like, wouldn't a decent person, like, what was the rush? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, why did they have to, kick her to the curb, Eugene, and then they had to go ahead and get married first? Like, I never understood why that was the case. The Queen had promised Eugenie the use of it, and Harry, so eager to fulfill her every wish, neglected to point out that she couldn't be lent something that his cousin had already been promised. So I look at her behavior as just so appalling. Why can't you just be like, you know what, Eugenie? It's okay. You can have the tiara. I'm not going to make a big fuss over it. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be getting married. I'm happy to wear any tiara they give me. I'm happy to be having $1 million something $40 million wedding. I'm happy just to be marrying Prince Harry. Like, at what point does that enter your head and you just kind of let it go? But no. Miss Meghan had to press the issue. There were, of course, other tiaras from which to choose. Most of the really spectacular tiaras from the British royal family's collection. And we know they got a collection, right? They got a good collection. So you would be thinking, oh, okay, well, shoot, I'll go pick this. I'll pick that. And she just had to be difficult. And that should be a sign right there. So they should have been leaking all this to the press so that we could have been like looking at her from the very beginning with the side eye. Like, for real? You gonna act like that? And the wedding ain't even happened yet? They should have done that because we wouldn't have found ourselves in this big mess. They could have just called the wedding off from the very beginning. See, and I look at this like she doesn't have respect for the protocols. You don't have respect for how the family does certain things. And had they dated longer, had the Queen not given Meghan all these things prior to the wedding, then maybe she would have been put in her place much sooner than the wedding. So that when the wedding happened and thereafter, she would have known, okay, I should not expect to get everything that I want. But the problem was the Queen trying to give her more at the beginning, trying to really welcome her into the family, breaking all the rules for Meghan before they were even married so that they could kind of show that we are going to be accepting of you, Miss Have Woman of Color. Right? That's what they were trying to do, thinking that they were doing a good thing. You would think that was a good thing for a very well-behaved sister girl. But when you have a rebellious sister girl who really ain't a sister girl, but I'm going to call her a sister girl only because her mother is black and she looked black. She looked black like me black, right? So when I say sister girl, don't be breaking me down like she ain't no sister girl. She marked Caucasian. I get it, okay? But you see what I'm trying to say? We just talking in a way that how it is, not how she sees herself. Okay? Had this been a very respectable, I follow your every wish, my queen. Yes, my queen. Had it been that kind of a woman, okay, yeah, you should have broken rules. You should have shown people that you can break rules for a girl who's well behaved. But when you got a skank like Meghan coming into the royal family, then excuse my way of addressing her, but this is what she's acting like, okay? We doing it with love. We're not doing it with hate, but she just acting rebellious. But you know, when you come into someone's family and you don't respect their protocols, that is a red flag. And because this red flag just didn't get addressed appropriately, it went on to make more red flag with an army of flags after the wedding. And now we've got this big mess on our hands. You see what I'm saying? So, it's just like, you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't kind of a situation. I mean, Meghan, she found herself in the right time with her timing with this. Marrying into this family was right. No, she had bad timing when it came to leaving the royal family and this whole, epidemic thing that we got going on. That really messed up her plans. But when it came to doing what she did with marrying into the royals, man, the girl had some timing, didn't she? Jacked everybody's plans all up. You would think she would respect that, but she didn't. We had a whole army of red flags with Meghan and nobody bothered to check. They just kept letting her add on red flag, red flag, red flag. And before you know it, she done caused a whole dust storm up in this royal family. So yeah, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to just look at, some of the things that they made exceptions for Meghan prior to her even getting married. Right? That they didn't even give Kate. But people that don't follow all this don't see that. They just see all the allegations of people were racist. I'm leaving, they were racist. But they don't see all the stuff that the Queen did for Miss Meghan prior to. And I think there's something to be said about that. Because you let her get away with so much, and then all of a sudden she's expecting it once she's married into the family. And then by then the cake is baked. You got to eat the cake. You just got to eat the cake. And I think it is so telling of what they try to do, the royal family, and why now what they have on their hands is so out of control, because they just couldn't just ignore some of the things that Miss MM wanted. They just couldn't give her everything. This was sent in to me by D. Mink Lee, and I love this comment he made. The Queen allowing Sandringham, her to come to Sandringham before they were married. The Queen taking her up on trips before she was married. The royal family paying for her $300 million wedding. The Queen giving her a multi-million-dollar home and giving her millions more to refurbish a home. The royal family allowing her to spend money on clothes, more money on clothes than all the other princesses in Europe combined, taking care of her and coaching her in how to be a part of the royal family. William and Kate being so welcoming to her. Her words, Meghan said this. All of these things were fair. But what do you think her attitude was when she got married? More, please. What else you gonna do for me? What else you gonna do for me? See, this is the attitude problem. And this is where you could easily go in on MM and like name call and just, really just want to wring her neck kind of a thing. Like a child, a bad child. Like you just get so mad and you just want to, right? We do it with love, right? But it just seems so characteristic of her behavior, of how we were told what she was like by her brother, her sister, her father even mentioned something like that in a nicer way. So we were all told this prior to. So we shouldn't be surprised now that when she starts behaving this way and then we start hearing her say it's racist, we should know, don't go there, because we've seen a pattern in your behavior and what you are really like, and we're not falling for it. So it was very telling to me to hear the things that were going on behind the scenes with this wedding. But like I said before, they're chalking it up to nervousness. not curtsying to the queen. Who forgets that, really? But I'm going to still side-eye that one, because you just don't forget something like that. Not everybody gets a chance to curtsy to the queen at their wedding. The queen could have been on Zoom at my wedding and I would have been curtsying to her. There ain't no excuse for that. She was right there in front of you. You saw her. You had been curtsying to her prior to the wedding. So how do you forget at the wedding? Like, that don't even make sense to me. Like, it just does not make sense. Really? Just something. That's why, me starting this channel, I had every intention of not doing this channel because I thought the girlfriend was going to be good. But she bad, and we're just going to talk about her bad behavior. We got to call it out so that the next princess that come in, she well educated and informed and she know what she's doing. Because we know there has to be more. MM can't be the only one. It's got to be another one that comes in with a good example, right? Right. Okay. And speaking of which, the Archewell Foundation. So I wanted to thank my other commenter who told me, I'll put these thank yous in the comments below in the description, about the Archewell Foundation. The paperwork was denied. Why? Because it was too vague. Like I've always been saying, what is her mission? What is she passionate about? You can tell she only wants to start this foundation for money. She's looking to make money for herself. She's looking to try to look like she's a humanitarian. She's doing it for all the wrong reasons. And that's why it was denied. Okay, so that should tell you something right there. Also, I had another person comment about working with Meghan in the movies. You know what? I'm glad that this comment was brought up because, which Hollywood actor, who was going to want to share a screen with her? I wouldn't. I mean, if I were in a film and they had cast me and then maybe her later, and I didn't really have much pull because I'm like, I'm not like an A-lister or something. I would have to do what I have to do. But if you're an A-lister and you make a conscious decision to work with MM, you're setting yourself up. I just think that you're not going to find the majority of people that are A-listers who are going to want to be in a film with her. My personal opinion, only because you're setting the tone for cooperating with her bad behavior prior to her even coming to Hollywood officially, when she took that job away from my Miss Meryl Streep, when she got the Elevance voiceover job, when she took that job from the A-lister. So, A-listers are sticking together and they're not going for this backstabbing. Now, maybe some of them will, but I think that anybody who makes that conscious decision has got some clout or some pull in who they want to work with or not work with. I don't think anybody's going to be lining up to work with Miss MM. I just don't think that is going to be the case. But we'll have to wait and see. Like I always say, wait and see. I want to say thank you to everybody who has shown me so much love for this channel, who have given me so many tips, and just like the information is like overwhelming. Y'all making this into a full-time thing for me. It was only supposed to be during the lockdown. This ain't supposed to be like almost my whole day, but it looked like that's going to happen with this book and me, talking about other news things. But I'm going to try to make it work for y'all because I love y'all. I thank you so much for following me on this channel. And until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.